Hey guys, this is Carolina, and let me tell you a little something about myself and what I like to pursue in the future. Two things that interest me are journalism and boxing, and I thought to myself, why not combine these two passions of mine? Luckily, I was able to sit down and talk to Max Kellerman, who is a boxing expert analyst for HBO Sports and also works for Sports Nation on ESPN. He shared with me how he broke into the business and how I can pursue my dream. Check it out. Max, you're one of the youngest yet most famous faces of boxing journalism. How did you overcome the obstacles and fears of failure to get to where you stand today?
Well, I'm 41 now, so now maybe I'm still like boxing skews older. Maybe I'm still among the younger guys, but I started on ESPN when I was 25. Took a while to graduate college, so went right out of college, but I was 25 years old. But I never really had a fear of failure, because there's some things that you can do. Talking about your favorite subject, is something that I felt pretty confident I could do. I was doing it anyway, just there was no camera there, and then there was a camera there.
So, what was it that triggered you to find an interest in boxing?
I was just a scrappy little kid, and my dad took me down to the gym, the PAL, and I liked the idea. It was a fair fight, with the gloves on and everything, people your own size, and I just fell in love with it.
So, as you mentioned, it took a while for you to graduate from college. I read in my recent research that you graduated from Columbia and got a degree in history.
Yes.
How was it that you switched from history to becoming a boxing analyst?
I never looked at college as vocational school. I didn't think that undergrad is about, I want to be a broadcaster, so I'm going to major in broadcasting. I think that college is best if people see it as a place where you go to become a more fully formed adult person. So a good, broad, liberal arts education is what I was looking for. And history was, when it was time to declare a major, I looked around and said, okay, I have a lot of history credits, I'll be a history major. But it could have been like political science or sociology or astronomy or whatever I happen to have the most credits in. And then when I was done with school, I started, as graduation was approaching, I started thinking, what do I want to do? Do I want to go to law school? Do I want, I was doing a public access show on boxing in New York at the time called Max on Boxing, which nowadays I guess I'd be doing a webcast or something like that, or a podcast. And my brothers and I put together a little press kit and a 5-minute highlight reel and sent it out to, various media outlets, and ESPN offered me the job.
Wow. So you got the chance to work with Al Bernstein, a legendary figure in boxing community, and Jim Lampley. Did they have any influences on the way you look at boxing and analyzing it?
Well, I watched Al Bernstein growing up. He and I have never called a fight together. We did some Sports Center hits together when I was first at ESPN and he was also at ESPN, and now I call the fights with Jim Lampley. I would say the person who most influenced my broadcasting in boxing, and maybe in sports in general, was Larry Merchant, because Larry was doing something different than everyone else. I always felt he was telling a story, and he was contextualizing everything you were seeing within that story, within the narrative that he created, or at least he extracted from what he saw. And I thought, okay, that's appealing to me, the way he's telling the story of what's happening. And when Larry would say something, a lot of times it wouldn't be the first thought you had or even the second thought, but he would articulate something that was bouncing around in the back of your mind anyway. And when he said it, you said, yes, that's it. And so that's, if anything, what I try to do, or at least what I'm interested in doing on the air.
Okay. And so jealousy is something that's going to be found everywhere, especially in this industry. How did you overcome the naysayers and push on with your career?
Well, I'm in the criticism business.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you what I think, and sometimes that's good, but sometimes if you're going to critique something, it's going to be bad too. So people critique the critics too, and you have to, got to have a thick skin about it, and and everyone's entitled to their opinion, and as long as you feel as though the criticism is fair. So if someone takes something that you said and interprets it in a way you didn't intend, and changes the meaning of it, and then criticizes their interpretation of what you said, which you feel is pretty clearly not what you said, then it's like, come on, that's not a fair shot. But if they take what you said, they analyze it and say, well, I disagree with this, this, and this, and it's fair criticism, that's fine. There's a finite amount of time you have to express your opinion. So sometimes even while you're expressing an opinion, you recognize that there's a legitimate counterpoint to that. You don't have time to get into every nuance, and then when someone else brings it up, you might say, yup, I agree with that. When I was thinking about this, I thought that's a pretty good answer, yet still I believe what I said, So it depends what they're saying and if you feel it's valid and all that stuff.
So self-confidence and criticizing is something a lot of teenagers struggle with today. What advice would you give them for them to pursue and chase their dreams freely?
I would say that if you think about something carefully and you come to a counterintuitive conclusion or an unpopular conclusion, by counterintuitive I mean it's not the first, like at first you'd see something and you go, oh, okay, it's that. Then the more you think about it, you realize, no, actually it's the opposite of that. If you come to that conclusion and it's unpopular, and out of 100 people that you tell, they all disagree with you, you should take that disagreement very seriously, because the chances are you're wrong and they're right if everyone else thinks you're wrong. But if you take into consideration their criticism and you go over it again and you keep thinking about it and you say, nope, I know everyone thinks I'm wrong about this, and I considered that very carefully, because the chances are, but I still think when I go through it, actually they're wrong. There are times when the majority of people will be wrong. If you think about it carefully, you put in the work, and you still feel that way, then you have to say it. You should say it confidently, not arrogantly, because there's a chance you're still wrong, but you should trust your own thought process if you've gone over it carefully.
So having your own self-confidence and going through what you want to do is all part of success. But what is success for you?
Professionally?
In life.
Success in life, that you have a good family, and I got 3 little kids, so that's, if everything's okay with them, that's a successful life.
Do you consider your job being your work that you wake up to and go and it pays the bill, or your life's work, something you wake up, you kick off the sheets, and you run to because you love?
That's a really good question, and that is I find myself in a very fortunate circumstance that way, because my work and the things I'm interested in are the same. I still am interested in the news and politics and sociology, and I've been on MSNBC and CNN, and that was, I got to do more of that stuff but even then, I'm even in talking about sports, the kind of sociology of it all plays in sometimes. So it's difficult for me to sometimes say when I'm working. Like if I'm watching a fight, or even just I go back on YouTube and say, hey, I haven't seen an Olivares fight in a long time, and I put up a fight from 1975. For most people, you're kind of wasting time for half an hour, but for me, that's actually good.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing my homework. But it's hard to call it work when you love it. So if you can do what you love and make a living for it, you're lucky.
And lastly, what's next for Max Kellerman?
That's a good question. I like what I'm doing right now a lot. I do a radio show here in LA with Marcellus Wiley on ESPN Radio. We have a lot of fun every day. And Sports Nation you get paid to kind of have a party every day. And HBO Boxing is where I want to be. So what's next is, I don't know. I'm very happy with the way things are. Like, come on, don't mess this up. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Max.
Appreciate it. So you're doing this for a class project? Or?
I'm in a program called Avid, and so in that program, we're doing Road Trip Nation, which is a road trip that takes us through the lessons that we need to learn as to figuring out what we want to do in the future or in life. Our final project was to interview somebody that's related to what we want to do in the future.
And you're into sports broadcasting or boxing broadcasting?
Yes. this is what I would love to do.
Boxing broadcasting.
Boxing. I love boxing.
Tremendous.
Yes.
Are you bilingual?
Yes.
Okay. What is your Latina, but from where?
Mexico City.
Perfect. Because let me tell you something, the networks, I'm sure, would be thrilled eventually, with a Latina, especially Mexican American, who can speak Spanish and knows what she's doing. So, because especially in North America, Mexican American fight fans are the majority of the fight fans, and they're underrepresented on the air. Mm-hmm. So they're, obviously you'd like your demographic to be at least somewhat reflected on your broadcast.
Where were you when you were 16 and 17?
I was going into my senior year in high school, and I got offered a job do you know that cartoon called Lazy Town?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like this stupid thing. I was supposed to be like the main girl in that and like tour as like this little character, which was really embarrassing. I didn't want to tell my friends, but I got homeschooled to do that, and then the funding fell through. So I was just homeschooled my senior year and didn't end up going on tour.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. What struggles did you face to get to where you are? It can be people or like...
Yeah, a lot of things. My main struggle was myself, like not believing in myself, and I finally had to realize people aren't going to believe in you or what you're saying until you believe. So it was just struggling with like different insecurities growing up, like as a girl, and also finding the right team, the people who will like put in the effort to do their job just like you are. And so a lot of that is just like being prepared and really trusting like your instincts and who you're surrounded by.
Okay. Were you a good student when growing up?
Like in school?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I wasn't bad. Like, I wasn't disrespectful or anything, but I just knew that wasn't really where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would be in class, like, writing song lyrics, or I was always, like, preoccupied doing other things, so I wasn't always good with my homework and stuff. But, I mean, I liked some parts of school.
Okay.
I wasn't, like, the ideal student. I don't recommend that, though.
Did you go to college, and if not, why did you choose music?
I went to, like, a community college for a few years and just took, like, random classes that I was interested in, and I took, like, an opera class. I took, like, different weird music classes. I had to, like, sing in Italian, and it was horrible. But, I do kind of wish I would have got that experience. Like, a lot of my friends went off to college, and, like, that seemed fun. But the whole point in going to college is to find out what you want to do, and I already knew what I wanted to do, so there was really no point.
Okay. What did you do to prepare yourself for the music business? So, like, how did you train and stuff?
Well, I grew up taking, like, dance and voice lessons. My mom owns a entertainment complex that we're sitting in right now. And so I grew up, like, doing different jobs and stuff. And a lot of it was, like, self-study. So a lot of, like, watching different interviews and a lot of people, like, on YouTube and their performances, kind of just seeing what I liked and what I respected and who I wanted to be. So a lot of training, but a lot of, like, self-training as well.
Do you want to go?
Yeah. How did you know you wanted to pursue music?
Well, there's a lot of answers for that. Let's say when I was little, I didn't know that you could actually, like, make a career out of that. I would just, like, write songs when I was 8, like, really depressed, weird songs, and they're, like, really strange. And then I don't know. I'd probably say until recently, I just knew probably when I had to get a normal job. And it's not that I hated it. I can really get along with people well, and I'm a hard worker. Like, I worked at Baskin-Robbins, Victoria's Secret, at a web design company, like a 9-to-5 receptionist. I've worked at, like, a lot of places. And, like, that's fine, but I just had this feeling like this can't be it. Mm-hmm. Like, I would definitely have a midlife crisis next year. Like, I would be, like, really not okay with that, so I'd rather be, like, broke, kind of, doing what I love, rather than doing that, so that's just how I knew I didn't want to end up like all my other friends. Yeah.
How did you shed the noise of haters?
I've always been good at knowing that people just project how they feel about themselves. Like I always say, world views are self views. So if you view the world as like bad and attacking you and what poor me, then that's just because you don't realize your self-worth. So I've realized over time that any girl, or it's mainly girls who like are haters, and that's just because they have self-doubt and all that. But I am really sensitive, so even though I can like understand where it comes from, it still sometimes affects me because I'm a woman, duh, like we all are like that. I probably just like a positive like family reinforcement and a good like friend group who I can still have my circle, knowing that like the outside world can say whatever, but when I come like home, then it's positive and fine.
Were you ever pressured to be something you're not in the industry?
All the time. So growing up, I think, okay, so I quit music probably when I was 19 because I grew up doing different production deals, which means you work with different like producers or management companies who will say like, okay, we'll give you like 3 songs and a photo shoot. You have to pay us this amount of money, or if these songs sell, then you owe us this. So it's kind of like they're helping you, but they're not really. It's kind of like a trick. But I grew up, like, some people would say, you have to be the next Carrie Underwood, and then you're the next Avril Lavigne, and you're all, like, I literally, at one point, cut all my hair off, dyed it hot pink, and was, like, a rocker chick. And, like, that was, like, fun, because I got to be, like, edgy. But I remember I tried out for X Factor, and I made it through to the producers. And I walked out, and I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I don't want to do the show. And she was like, why? And I was like, it just doesn't feel right. Like, it's not me. And that's when I was being this rock chick. And she's like, hey, if you don't want to, you can come home. So then I quit music for like a year, and I started just writing for myself. And that's when this whole like new sound and like my path was kind of formed, when I stopped listening to other people. Yeah, basically. Because I mean it's always good to like take people's advice and stuff, but at some point, like you know what you want and what you want to do. So
what did you recurrently write your music about?
Love. Well, lack of love, I guess you could say. I think I was heavily influenced by songs like that, like people like Alanis Morissette, Tori Amos, Fiona Apple, which are like really weird, but like really intelligent women who weren't afraid to be like vulnerable. And so growing up like as a dancer, I would listen to contemporary songs, so I think that kind of shaped me lyrically. And then growing up, my experiences, like that's really all I care about really is love. So that's where all my passion comes from, is that, I guess. Yeah.
Do you want to finish
What are you doing right now to promote your music career?
I'm trying, well, I've learned, unfortunately, that social media plays a huge part in it. And, like, if it wasn't for me trying to promote my music, I wouldn't have it, because it's just, like, brainwashing, and you just sit there and waste so much time doing that. But it is cool to be able to relate to people that, like, you don't see in person, face-to-face. So I'm trying to find, like, positives in that. Trying to post covers. Right now I'm finishing my EP, and I also have a radio show on Dash. And so I'm trying to build, like, a fan base with my show every week and doing, like, little shows at cafes. I have I'm booked at Republic of Pie on June 2nd. You guys should come at 6 o'clock. That's you guys yeah. So just like little shows. I think a lot of my friends who are really talented they think they're too good to do, like, I perform at Starbucks if no one was listening. I would perform right here if you guys wanted me to. But a lot of my friends like have too big of egos, and then that's why they don't really even have one fan, is because no one can hear them. They can play their music in their bedroom all they want and have all this pride. But, like, I don't really have that because I just love what I do. So I don't really care. I'm just trying to be out there.
Cool. Breaking into the music industry is one of the most difficult careers to pursue. What else do you do to get by? That's like your side job.
Yes. I, right now, am a receptionist and a vocal coach for children, which I didn't always love to do, but I've kind of learned to, because it's helping, like, give back. Like, I remember my teachers that really influenced me, like, singing, And so I feel like I'm doing that for my students, and also it's fun because I just love to sing. I kind of just teach them the songs I want to learn that week, and then we just sing together. It's pretty fun. Yeah. It's kind of tough, though, because I'll be, like, singing for, like, 6 hours straight teaching, and then I'll have a session afterwards, and then, like, my voice is like, ah. But I guess it's worth it because I have bills to pay, so I have to. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for us, or me, kind of, but
For music
like,
stuff?
Yeah. They're just
Let me think.
while growing up.
I think a lot of people don't trust, like, I call it, like, your third eye, or, like, your just, like, your intuition. And I think we always, like, second guess ourselves, I think a lot as, like, women, well, young ladies. And so I would just say that to really, like, take moments for yourself to reflect at where you're at in your life and see if you're happy with it, and know that at any point you can change that. Like, a lot of people don't realize you have a choice to be happy. You have a choice to come here today. You have a choice to get up and leave right now if you want it. Because it's all, no one's making you do anything. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's music, family, love, any job, anything, you always have a choice. And, like, you should always choose happiness. And so, like, that's been kind of my thing. Is that I haven't always, because I wanted to, like, please other people, or I was too insecure to speak up for myself. And that never gets you anywhere. So, like, now finally just following my heart and what I want to do, wherever it leads me, I'll be okay with that. Like, I'll have my peace because I chose it.
Yay!
I have one question.
Mhm.
Just because the last thing you said was, like, being insecure to speak up. When you finally did, like, what was the reaction that you got?
Well, I think, honestly, what gave me the courage to do that was through my music. That's when people really heard my voice, and getting that positive response of people actually, like, understanding, like, that's what you're going through, or that's what you're thinking when you're, like, sitting there being introverted and weird. So it was really, like, empowering to have people actually care what I was saying, not only care but relate. So, like, so that I can sing a song or I can say something and someone else might be feeling the same way, and they're like, oh my god, I'm so glad she said that. Then that just keeps, like, building. It's kind of like fire under my butt to get, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.